Hello and welcome to episode number 18 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. This is the go-home show for Money in the Bank 2020 from the SmackDown side, and just the go-home show in general, I guess. Without any further ado, let's just jump straight into the show. We open up with Mustafa Ali coming out for the first time, I think, properly doing his full new hacker entrance, and he's going to give a bit of a promo to the crowd as a human being instead of behind like the computer screen, and explain why he's picked on Dolph Ziggler again, because obviously Otis and Mandy was the love story of 2019. Everybody wanted to see Otis and Mandy together, but Sonya and Dolph Ziggler, they had other ideas. They thought that Otis didn't have Mandy's best interests or whatever, so he couldn't just sit back and watch somebody that he admired, like Otis, be fucked over by Dolph Ziggler. And come Money in the Bank, Ziggler's going to regret everything when him and Mustafa Ali go one-on-one. And he's going to take out all the entire WWE Universe's frustrations on Dolph Ziggler. And reward... he doesn't know what happened to Otis last week, but he's very much on the case. Because obviously he was the hacker and he can see everything that happened, only knew about Dolph and Sonya. And now Otis has been attacked again. He said he doesn't know if that's by Dolph Ziggler. He's working on figuring out who it was behind the attack of Otis. And they'll be brought to justice, just like Dolph Ziggler will be brought to justice this Sunday at Money in the Bank. Speaking of Sonya, she has a match with Dakota Kai, because they're both in the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Just a quick match between them to see who gets the upper hand, and it is Dakota who beat Sonya in 10:44 with a top rope splash apparently, but it would be some sort of big kick. So Dakota Kai continues her run of momentum, and will she be the one to lift and pull down and retrieve the Women's Money in the Bank briefcase this Sunday? Only time will tell. Sami Zayn promo. He's with Shinsuke Nakamura, and of course he brags about how he's facing Cesaro at Money in the Bank, how they're best friends. And Nakamura's like, Sammy, are you sure you can trust Cesaro? I mean, obviously he's your best friend, but I've been your friend longer. You picked me out first, so then Cesaro came along afterwards. Maybe he's just using us to get close to your IC title. And Sammy's like, oh Shinsuke, your worries will not be concerned, because even if Cesaro does end up using us to try and get close to this title, he's not that dumb, because, well, you're going to be by my side anyway. So if he does step out of line, I can always call upon you, my artist, Nakamura, to put him back in line. So it's still a bit respectfully friendly, but Shinsuke's got his doubts about the way Cesaro's been acting recently. And Sammy's just like, it's okay, don't worry about it. If he does step out of line, we'll put him back in his place. But they are still friends, and they plan to have another friendly encounter for the IC title at Money in the Bank. Speaking of Money in the Bank, two competitors in the men's side of the ladder match, Sheamus and Chad Gable, have a match, and it's a 69 rated match in which Sheamus defeats Chad Gable in 14:19 after it's blatantly... I wouldn't know if he would specifically use a foreign object, but it wouldn't be clean, because Gable recently got his name back, to his Chad Gable best. I wouldn't want to pin him clean with a bro kick, so it'll be some sort of sketchy finish to give Sheamus the win here. Match is over though. Sheamus continues his assault on Chad Gable. He continues to punch him on the ground, and then he goes to the corner, he starts beating his chest, calling for the bro kick. And then Jeff Hardy's music would hit, and him and Sheamus would get into a fight, because he's also in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And Jeff Hardy would take the fight to Sheamus, he'd lay him out with a twist of fate. And then he'd go onto the ring, and he'd pull out a bit, or actually they'd pull one of the ones on the stage, because they always do the ladders on the stage on the go-home shows of Money in the Bank. He'd pull one of the big ladders off the stage, he'd climb it, and he'd give Sheamus a big swanton bomb on top of the other ladder to the grounded Sheamus on the floor. And of course this also wounds Jeff Hardy as well as Sheamus, so Chad Gable is free to do the obligatory, climbs the ladder, and he pulls the briefcase down. So if that happens this Sunday, Chad Gable will be Mr. Money in the Bank. And he's taken advantage of Jeff Hardy and Sheamus' fight to sort of play mind games with the other two men in the match, as well as Aleister Black, Apollo Crews, and Austin Theory from Raw, who will definitely be watching. So Gable gets the last laugh in the end after losing to Sheamus. He pulls the briefcase down. He gets the mind games advantage heading into the pay-per-view. just a quick something. Naomi defeats Dana Brooke in a 27 rated match. Dana Brooke penalised for being bad, apparently, so is Naomi. But again, just something to get Naomi on the show, give her a win, because I had 5 minutes to kill. Backstage segment, Tucker is relaying the incident that happened to him and Otis last week when they got attacked by the two giant men to somebody off camera, and of course it pans, and we have Tyler Breeze stood there in his detective uniform with his glasses pushed down on his nose as he takes the notes on a clipboard. And then obviously Tucker goes, he's like, "Did you get all of that, Breeze?" And he's like, Tyler Breeze like, "So you got attacked by two small women in the backstage area of Monday Night Raw?" And Tucker's like, "No, you didn't get any of that right." And then Breeze throws the clipboard up in the air. He's like, "I'm sorry, Dango's injured. I can't do this all by myself. It's normally a team effort. It's me and Dango. I can't do this alone." And Tucker's like, "Well, what good are you? I've got Ali looking on the case now. I don't need your stupid, shitty detective work. So what good even are you?" And tensions boil over because Breeze couldn't get the fashion files on the case for Otis' attack, and Tucker and Breeze are going to end up having a match. But first, to cool the crowd down after that heated confrontation between Tucker and Tyler Breeze, we get the J-Flow concert of the week. They don't wrestle this week, they just sing and leave. To sort of as an intermission for the hot Tucker versus Tyler Breeze match, which gets a 45, and Tucker gets the pin over Breeze. That will teach him for stepping into the deep end, then not being able to answer Tucker's questions and find the culprit for Heavy Machinery's attack last week. And of course, during the match, Hacker's static would go off a couple of times, as he is very much on the actual case. Sasha and Bayley promo, talking about how Bayley's going to beat Alexa Bliss at Money in the Bank, and how she sees that Sasha's in Money in the Bank, and she knows that her best friend Sasha Banks is going to win Money in the Bank, but it's not a worry because her and Bayley are best friends, so Sasha having that briefcase is just like an insurance policy. She knows that Sasha's not going to stab her in the back and cash it on her and win her title. It's there just in case Bayley loses the championship. Because if Bayley's the champion, then Sasha and Bayley are both the champions because they're best friends. So if Bayley gets beat by somebody miraculously, she says, because obviously no one's going to beat Bayley because she's the best, then Sasha's there as a plan B to get that championship back in the hands of the Golden Role Models, and they'll be co-champions until the end of time. And Alexa's like, "Bitch, you're a fucking just delusional. Last week you pinned Nikki, and obviously I face you at the pay-per-view, but I need a warm-up. Let me fight your best friend Sasha Banks right now." And Sasha's like, no, I'm not really dressed to compete. And Bayley's like, "Sure, you can fight Sasha." And Sasha's like, "Bitch, why are you accepting matches on my behalf?" But the match is happening. Sasha, very much unprepared, and she gets beat in 10:40 with a Twisted Bliss by the number one contender, giving Alexa a nice win and momentum heading into her match with Bayley this Sunday at Money in the Bank. Miz and Morrison, they do a dirt sheet mocking the NFL career of Rob Gronkowski and the WWE career of Mojo Rawley. They do a parody skit of the training sessions of Gronk and Mojo last week, and they very much look forward to seeing them at Money in the Bank because they're stepping into the ring with the greatest tag team of the 21st century, and they're not even a real tag team, they're just two friends teaming up and goofing about. They need a real name. And then Morrison's like, "Well, Miz, we don't have a tag team name either." And then Miz is like, well, we're so good, we don't need a tag team name. And we're going to prove that when we beat those two losers on the Money in the Bank kickoff in this Sunday at Money in the Bank. So just a silly segment to sort of build more heat towards that match. Main event was set up last week. It's the SmackDown Tag Team titles, New Day defending against Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak, in which the New Day defeat Bryan and Gulak because King Corbin comes out and attacks Daniel Bryan, which throws Drew Gulak off his game as he's distracted by watching Bryan get attacked, and it ends up Gulak gets pinned by the Midnight Hour because that dastardly King Corbin. Kofi gets a 74, 71 for Big E, 82 for Bryan, and a 52 for Gulak. But this is a nice match for him to be in to boost his pop. Main event segment. For the first time ever. Well, not the first time ever, actually. They've definitely had a three-way face-to-face before, but for the first time in the build to this pay-per-view match, Goldberg, Braun Strowman, and Roman Reigns are all face to face. They have your generic stare down, big man stare face off, and Braun's like, you two need to keep your eyes on the prize because you're too busy bickering like school children. But I'm the Universal Champion, and I'm not someone to be overlooked because look at the size of me. No, you can't take me down. Raw, I'm the monster among men, etc. And we would replicate the spot. It would end with, because they did. I think it was on the build to that Royal Rumble 2017 that Goldberg was in. They did a spot on Raw where Roman and Goldberg and Braun were in the ring, and they ended with them giving him a double spear. And we'll do that spot again, sort of proving that they're sort of on the same level. Anything you can do, I can do just as good. Taking the Universal Champion down, and they'd both try to pick up the title. And we wouldn't have the cringy Roman Reigns and Goldberg tug of war. We'd have Goldberg to sort of let go and tap Roman on the shoulder as a receipt from last week, like, yeah, hold on to that, kid, keep that warm for me. As he leaves, and Roman just looks pissed off as he walks up the ramp, ending the show and ending the build to Money in the Bank 2020 in a show that gets us a 73. We lose Pop again, not too worried about it, but that is the last show on the build to Money in the Bank. So next time I'll see you will be episode 19, and it will be the pay-per-view itself. See you guys then.